Welcome to this game development stream of GW5. Let's continue with our game. So today we have to figure out where we should put our data loader and data saver, and that is uh, which places, in which places should we save the game and load the game. For loading, we only have one place, and that is when the game starts, we will load all the data from the disk to the global variables. That's what we will do, and that's the only place where we will be loading the game. But for saving the game, we have to uh, save it in some places, and not just when exiting the game. Right now, we are saving the game when we are exiting the game, right? So from main menu, when the player clicks on the exit button, what we are doing is that when the player clicks on the exit button, then we are changing the scene to data saver. And in data saver, what we are doing is that we are including the save event, right? And then we are quitting the game. So that's not what should happen in data saver, because we want to save the game at many places. So if we save and quit, then even if we want to save in stage 1, suppose the player unlocked a new stage and we want to save the game now, and if we call this data saver screen, then it will save and then quit. So that's not good, that's not ideal. uh, what we will do here is this. Maybe I can just link the data saver events, right? This is the data saver scene, but I also have an external event called save event. So this is the save event, and let me try this one and see if it works. When we click on the exit button, I will not change the scene to data saver scene, delete this, and I will just add a sub event, not a sub event, a link. And I will shift this over here so that it becomes a sub event of my mouse click event, and here I will just choose save event. That should work, even though my save event is not linked to this scene. Even though that's true, this will still work, this should work, right? So let us add another event, a sub event. I mean just an event, because we are in the sub event context, so you can just add a simple event, and here we will just quit the game. And now we don't have to go to the save data saver screen, and we can remove this quit the game thing from data saver screen. We can also delete this event, and this is good. Let data saver be there, we may need it. But we have just called the save event from inside the main menu itself. So uh, let's check if it is working or not. And to do that, I will just start the game from here, from my main menu. And that is because, let me tell you, data loader. Right now, yesterday I started the game from this loading screen. So what it did was, it loaded the data if it was present, right? But today I will just start from main menu, so it will not load data will not be loaded from the file. So we will have all the default values of all the variables, right? Here if we start from here, we will have the saved values, and yesterday the values which were saved were, I think, 600 coins, or and some upgrades were there. So let's check it. Let's check what was yesterday, what we did yesterday, whether it's still saved or not, right? I switched off my laptop at night and I opened it in the morning. So let's see if that saved data is still there. It must be still there. Let's load it. Yeah. So I have my saved data. It was 0 coins, not 600, and I had some upgrades, right? That's okay. That's good. And let me just close it. I will not exit right now. So now I will not start from data loader. When I will not start from data loader, what will happen is that my data from the file will not be loaded, right? So I will start with default values. So let me start with default values because I want to check whether my save event is working from inside the main menu or not. So let's do that. So yeah, now I have all the default values. Let me change them. And now I will exit. So whether the data was saved or not, we have to test it now. Let me again start from the data loader scene. It should have saved, but I don't know. So let's see. Yeah, so it looks like this event is working. Save event, right? It's working. But let me verify one more thing very quickly. Yeah, so it's working. So that's good. We don't have to call the save event, save screen, save, I mean, data saver. We don't have to call the data saver screen again and again. We can just save the game from inside the events like this. And we are loading only once when the game is starting. So we don't really need to look into it too much. So that's good. That's working. So we are saving our game in while when we click the exit button from the main menu, and I think that we should also save our game when the player character dies, right? And we should also save our game when the player character unlocks a new stage, right? Unlocks a new stage and they want to play the new stage. Then first, when the player character dies. Second, when the player character unlocks a new stage and they want to play the new stage. And the third case in which we should save the game is that when the player character pauses the game and they want to go back to the main menu. Right? In these three cases, we must save the game, right? So that their score is saved, right? That's what we should do. And let us do that. It's not very difficult, it's very simple. Let me open, I have opened stage 1. I will also open stage 2 because whatever we do in stage 1 we have to do in stage 2. I will also open my pause screen because we also want to save game when the user wants to pause the game and go back to the main menu. Then also we will save the game. And one more place, and that is upgrade, no, stage 1 unlock message. Here also, if the player unlocks a new stage and they want to play the next stage, then we will also save the game. In these three places we will save the game, right? Although we will have to write code 4 times, I think, because there is a second stage also. So whatever we will write in stage 1 we will also have to write in stage 2. Right, right. Let's go. Let's do this. The first thing was that when the player character dies, so that is it must be here. Health is less than equal to 0 and has died is equal to 0. That is, health is 0 but they have not died yet, and at this condition, when these two conditions are true, which means that now they have died. So this dying animation will play, and here only we will do the save game. So but when they die, and we are not actually, oh yeah, the way we are doing is that when the player is dying, we are just showing the message to the player that press pause button to uh, exit, right? End text. What is end text? Let me see. What is end text? End text is press pause to end. So when the player character is dying, we are just telling the player to press pause. And when they press pause, they will have the option to continue or to go back to the main menu. If they continue, they will come back to being dead. So there is no point in continuing. But if they go back to the main menu, then at that point we have to save the game. So we have to do less work in this case. We don't have to add anything in stage 1, and I guess if we don't have to add anything in stage 1, we also don't have to add anything in stage 2, right? But in pause screen we have to add something. When the player chooses to go to main menu, which is this condition, mouse is inside main menu and button was released, then here we will add a save event, right? And then click on please add an event and click on link. Let me choose save event. I save the game. I first change all the global variables. I transfer the points which the player collected in the scene, and put them in global variables, right? And after doing this, I will uh, save the game, and after saving the game I will change the scene. So here also click this event and add an event, so that it's an event after this, and then cut this and just paste it here. So after saving I will go to main menu, not before. So that's how it will work. Yeah, and it will work from both the stages. And yeah, now for the unlock. From the unlock stage, if the player wants to go to the next stage, then also we should do a save. So let's do it. And that's the same thing here. Play next stage. Here we have to do the saving. So add a sub event. No, don't add sub event. Add one link, and just shift it here so that it's inside this event, and just click on save event. You've got a save event, and then add another event, and in this event we will change the scene. Click on this and cut it and paste it. So now we have our event. We will transfer the temp coins and temp points, that is the points and coins which they earned in the stage, and transfer them to global variables, and then clear the temporary points and temporary coins, and then we save the game. And so whatever is in global variables will be saved in our file, and after that we will change the scene to the second stage 2, right? We have only one stage, that's why in upgrade screen we are just, I mean unlocks message, we are just going to the second stage. And because we cannot pass the name of the stage as variables to this command, we cannot pass the name of the stage as variables to this command. That's why we have to write this scene for every stage in which stage unlocking will happen. right? But right now we have just two stages, so we only have to write it for first stage. From second stage we are not doing any unlocking, so we don't need a stage 2 unlock message scene, right? Because from second stage we are not doing any unlocking. When you do an unlocking from a second stage, or you want to add 3, 4, 5 stages, you will have to make this scene for every stage in which you are unlocking a next stage, right? Because we can't pass a variable to this command, to the scene changing command, right? That's why. So we have added save events to this place and save event to this place, and that's it. I think that's all the places where we should have added the save event. Yeah, looks like it. And it's working so far. Let us now do one little uh, playthrough of the game from the beginning. Let us load it. No, should I load the data loader? No, let's load the main menu. Okay, now let us do a little playthrough of the game and see if there are some errors or bugs. So when I pressed on the pause screen, it immediately brought me to the main menu. That should not have happened, right? It should have shown me the pause scene. It didn't show me that. So something is wrong in the pause scene. I think let me. Yeah, I believe that. Hmm, I clicked here and my mouse was released. So I think it registered that event. Oh, this change scene event is not within this event, right? So just click on this and drag it here, and click on this and drag it here. Now it is within the main menu text. That was the problem. Yeah. Earlier it was just running every frame. So when it ran every frame, it was here, right? So it ran no condition, so it will run, and it changed the scene to main menu. That was the bug. So we have tested it. That's good. Okay. Let's check the unlock message also, whether we did something there also wrong. No, it's okay. Good. So now let me again test it. game over and press pause to end. And I think this text is coming too down below. It should come somewhere here, right? Let me do that. Let me now see if pause is fixed. Yep, it's fixed. Continue. I come back to game over. When I go to main menu, I will go to main menu. That's good. Let me change the position of the game over text in both the stages. Both the stages. I will just move it up and a little bit to the left. This one. Yeah. Y position 1140 should be around 700 700 I guess. Yeah. And X position should be a little bit towards the left, which means maybe 200, I guess. Let's test it out. To test it out, we need to lower the max health so that we can test it quickly. 10 fly. Okay, let's test. uh, Being overlapped, a little below will be good. Little bit, maybe 800 will be okay, right? Let's test this. So that's working. That's okay, right? That's looking good. So let me just copy this and copy and just paste it here. uh, Here, remove this and just paste. I would like to do something more, that is add a little screen behind that text, because that text is not visible properly, right? Let me do that. So from here you just go to this, make a sprite, call it white background, and add animation default, edit with pixel. I guess let it be like this only. It's okay. I mean, uh, we're just making a casual game, right? But it's good. You can, uh, you know, do something else over there, add some background so that it does not look bad. Can do that, but not necessary really. uh, right, let me okay, let me just make it very quickly and see something which is elongated and at the same time it looks good. So the width 512, but the height should be 256. And then just draw resize for easy editing. And then resize. This is looking better and text. Yeah, this is looking better. So wherever I am calling end text, I will call the white background. Object create object white background. X position was 200, I guess. But for this we will choose 150, and Y position was 800, and for this we will choose 700. Layer spawn layer, and this will be spawned before the end text, right? Let's test it out. Okay, little bit not, it's not showing. We will fix that. 800 and 200, no, 150 was, I think it should be 100. And create object at position 800y, and let me change the z order of this object. Z order of end text is equal to is equal to uh, objects visibility z order of white background, right, and plus 1. So it will always be above white background, right? We have taken reorder of white background and added 1 to it, so our end text will be always in front of the white background. So that should work. Let's see. Yeah, so it's working. So I think Y position should be a little more. I think 900 should do. Let's test again. Nine hundred. Let's make it 820. So that's okay, that's good. Let's do the same for the second stage also. And I have to copy these three, but I have to make a white background over there also. Let me make it very quickly. Now let me copy the commands. Shift select and copy. Go here and delete this one because we have copied it and paste. It's out of order, so just do this. White background created first. After that, end text should be created, and after that, we should change the z order of the end text. Right? That's the order of events. So it's working. Our game is working. We have tested it. One more thing we have to test, and that is objects. Let's do that from main menu. Right? One more. Let me reset the coins. It shouldn't be 1000. It should be 0. We only did, we only did 1000 to test the grade system. Now I want to actually do one more thing. I want my ghost to give me more coins. One coin. I want to give me 50. One ghost. No, 50 is too much. 10 coins. One ghost will give me 10 coins. And the bigger one will give me more. 30 coins. That's manageable. That's better. Right? So now let's test. One more thing. We didn't change it in the loader. Now it's good. It should work. My health was low. So we saw that our game was working pretty well, and so I think now we can just conclude that our game is working. So which means that we have completed the game. The game is now complete, which means that we have completed development of the client. I mean the basic game mechanics, the basic client, and now without using networking, someone can just play the game, right? And now our next task is to implement a leaderboard system, account creation, and that's it. Login system, sign up system, password forgetting system, and we have to just now start work in networking and sending data from the game and receiving data from the server. So how do we do that? Now how do we do that for free? So that's the question. And let's now start some networking, and to do that for free we need to make a server. We need a server, right? So wait, let me explain to you a little bit more in a little bit detail. So hold on. So now I just want to give you a very basic understanding of client and server architecture. Maybe you know already, but if you don't, here it is. We have made our game. So we have a game which we made in GDevelop 5, and we are going to release this game on mobile phones, right? basically Android, or you can also export to iOS if you want, right? And so that's our game. Our game will run on mobile phones. Players will download the game in their phones and they will run it in their phones, right? The whole code, which whatever we wrote, will go inside their phones and run in them, and let them play the game. We will also make. We have made the game. It's working, but although we have to add some networking facilities, send message, receive message, but we will do that. But for the basic functions of the game, we have made it, it's finished, right? So we also want to make now a server, and this server is will we will I will make it in PHP, right? You can choose any language to make it, and any server side scripting language, but since I am proficient in PHP, I will be able to make it in PHP. You can also use, I guess, Java, Python. Some people use, you can use any language to do server side scripting, but I will be using PHP. And our server and all the code of the server will live in a server, right? It will be online, and by online I mean it will be a web app. It will stay online, and basically it will live. People say that it will be in the cloud, but the cloud just means that it is a machine. It will be another computer in which our code will be stored, but that computer will be connected to the internet, right? So you can basically just understand that okay, the the code in our server will live online. It will be, it will have an address, right? It will have an address, and we can reference our server using that address. So these days we call it a web app. I mean, any code that is running online is called a web app, and it should also provide some interface to the user. That's called a web app technically, and it is online. That means that it is always connected to the internet. Anybody can access it by using its URL address. Cloud is just another computer, another machine, which you know which is connected to the internet, which is most likely very powerful than what we use. It has more processing power, more RAM, more hard disk. So that's the basic architecture of our game, and we will be sharing information. Wait, we will be sharing information to and from our game. Oh, wait, it's going all the way over there. So yeah, we will be sharing information. We will be sharing information between our game and our server. Server will also have a database, which we will be making a PostgreSQL database. Okay, that's the database management system. It's nothing very special. Although yes, it's very powerful, but nothing to be afraid of. You can also use MySQL. Both are free and open source, and we will be using PostgreSQL, and yeah, our code will be written in PHP. We will be using a PostgreSQL database. And where will we host all this? Where will our PHP code go? Where will our database be hosted? I mean, it will be hosted in our web app, right? In our web app. But who will provide us the storage and actually the machine where our web app should be stored. We will be using Heroku's servers. Heroku. So Heroku is basically a service which provides you the ability to create web apps on their infrastructure. They have an infrastructure, they have machines, and they provide an interface to us using which we can create web apps in their machines. And those web apps, our web apps, are given an address, a virtual, I mean a URL, and we can access our web apps using that URL, and we can make our web apps do different functions by writing some code in them. That's the overall thing, the entire networking thing which we will be doing in our game. So this will enable us to make accounts, make user accounts, make a leaderboard, and store user data, and if they forget their password, we'll be able to help them reset it. We will also be using an SMS, an email gateway, so that we can send emails to our users, right? And Heroku provides a database. Heroku provides a web app, right? Heroku will also provide an email gateway. They provide everything, and they have a free tier. And free tier means that uh, in a limited way, for a limited ability, you can use their service for free. I mean, your server should not run for more than a specified number of hours every month, right? And then if it does that, if it does not run more than a certain number of hours, then it will be free. Basically, there are tiers that, okay, if you want to upgrade to a paid tier, you can do that. If you want to keep working in the free tier, you can do that. I have been using Heroku for many years, and so I can say that it's very reliable. They will never take away your free tier without telling you first. So that's one thing, that's something good. So now let's go to Heroku and see what it looks like. So I am in my browser. I will now type heroku.com. It's taking a while. Taking a lot of time. Don't know why. Yeah. So this is my dashboard, and this is my account. So I already have an account. You will have to create an account, right, in Heroku. So the account creation process is very simple. I think I don't remember it, but you will have to put your email, your name, and you can see that I have lots of apps here, and all these are free apps in which you can see this ZZZ sign. These are free, and this one is a paid app, right? So, but as you can see, my all my free apps are also there. They will run when they are needed, and automatically. I will not have to manage that. So they will, when you register, they will ask for your name, username, email, and all that, and they will also ask you to put your debit card details. And now you can choose not to do that. I will suggest that right now don't put your debit card details. When you have had used Heroku for a while, for a few months, then you can decide to put your debit card details. So when you put your debit card details in Heroku, they will verify your debit card, and I think they will deduct $1 from it just to verify that you can make payment from this debit card, you have authority over it. When you verify your debit card, when you put your debit card in Heroku, what they will do is they will give you some extra hours, extra free hours. If you don't verify a debit card, if you don't put a debit card, then you can run free apps for a certain number of hours. I think it is 400 or 500 hours, right? But if you put your debit card details, they will give you 750 hours, 3 hours for running your apps. So all your apps can run for 750 hours every month for free. So that's the benefit which they give you when you put your debit card details. But I suggest that right now you don't do that. Just make a free account, and after doing that you will be taken to this type of dashboard, right? And if you don't see this dashboard, you can just, if you don't see it, you can just tell me in the comments, so that I will just, then I will create a new account in Heroku, and I will tell you where, how to find this dashboard. But if you can see this dashboard yourself when after making an account, that's good. So let us assume that you have made the account, and you have you can pause the video and make the account. If you have some problem, you can comment below the video, in, right, you can comment below the video wherever you are watching it. uh, I mean, preferably on YouTube, you can comment, and I will see if you have any problem, and I will try to solve that. But right now pause the video, make the account, and get to this screen where you can see this new button basically. And I will now assume that you have paused the video, made the account, and you are here. So let's, so to create an app, to create a web app, you have to click here, new, create new app. If you can't find this, do tell me in the comment section, so that we can sort it out and see if they change their system somewhat. Maybe I registered 4 years ago, so something may have changed. So if you are having some problem, just comment in the comment section, so that we can see how to solve that. App name, because our game name is Soul Hunter Downtown, I will just type Soul Hunter. It's not available. Okay, what about this? This is available, so I will put Soul Hunter Downtown as a app name. So app names have to be unique throughout their throughout their what is it called, it's throughout the environment, it should be unique. And just you can choose a region, Europe and United States. I will just choose United States, and now create app. And now you are here, you have made a new app, Soul Hunter Downtown. You can, I guess you have to choose a different name, because I took this name already. You can choose something else, Ghost Hunter Downtown, whatever, or just you can put some number after this, that also works. So you have, this is your new app, you have created it. You can open it. Let me open it. So it says welcome to your new app, and here you can see the URL of your app. Now you can take this URL, right, and you can access your app from anywhere. You can access it from mobile phones or from other computers, other networks, from anywhere you can access this app, this app of yours. And it is all, it also has SSL encryption, so that's also a pretty good thing for us. So that's your app, new app which you have made right now. And in next video, that is tomorrow, we will see how to add some code, how to write code in this app, and so that that code runs whenever we want it to run, and how to add database, how to add email server in our app, and and we will do all that for free. No money, no debit card details, you don't have to put them. They will, Heroku will ask you to put, but don't do it. Just test it out, just see if you like this or not, if you like their infrastructure or not. I also, when I was starting out, I didn't put my debit card details. I put it after 1 year when I wanted a paid app, right? So just because we are learning, don't do any spending here, don't put your debit card details, just do it for free. And if you are having some problem, do let me know in the comment section, and so that we can sort that out, and so that we can all be at this level at here when you have created the app, so that we can continue from here next time, right? So that's it for today. If you are enjoying this stream, consider joining me tomorrow as well. Thank you for watching.